Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we're diving into sound design and the world of vocal synthesis. We're checking out Minimal Audio's Evoke. Hi, my name is Tim. If it's your first time here, I'm a recording and mixing engineer, and I just want to make things easier for you. We're checking out a vocal synthesizer, which is a way to really manipulate your voice, whether it be for music production or for voiceover work. We're going to do a little bit of that today as well. So we're going to be using Minimal Audio's Evoke, which does a ton of different things. And like we usually do, we're going to go over the controls and how this thing sounds. But most importantly, we got to get started. Let's dive into the DAW. Okay, so here it is. This is Minimal Audio's Evoke. This is how it looks when you pull open a brand new instance, and there is a lot going on. We're going to go over a bunch of the controls and not do too deep of a dive in this video, but if you want more information about anything, let me know in the comments and we can always do a follow-up. And then, of course, later on, we're going to get into our audio examples where we go and use this song that we're in, and then later on, we're also going to do some voiceover stuff where I used AI to generate a villain monologue script. That's just what I was thinking when I wanted to do some kind of voiceover stuff, is a villain. Let's have some fun. So here we go. Let's go over Minimal Audio's Evoke. This is the main screen, and there is a lot going on. Okay, so we're going to break this down into a few different sections. So we have our synthesizer right in the main window, and we're going to be concentrating on the top area, including these 7 controls: pitch, shape, color, width, blur, formant, and resolution. These are what Minimal Audio is calling the character controls. This is your character in unison, choral, or whatever you want to pick up here. You can scroll through with the arrows, or you can just click and get a drop-down menu. But when you have whatever your voicing or characterization is selected from up here, you can then go in and start to manipulate it however you need for your production, whether it's a, like we said, music production or some kind of voiceover thing. Then underneath these controls, we'll go to the left-hand side here. This is our harmonizer section here, and you can see that it has voice options where it can just deepen things down by minus 12 cents. That's an octave, minus 5 steps, plus 4, plus 12. So there's a bunch of different options in here on which direction the voices are going to go. And then, of course, we can manipulate the intervals, and you can see that minus 12 is getting plus 6, so now it's minus 6. So, plus or minus. But by default, and I just option click that would be alt click on a PC, it snaps it back to normal. So here on minus 5, it's not octaves, it's just dropped down. This is minus an octave, but if you wanted to go even more, that's actually now 2 octaves. So you can do things like that. That's really cool. We'll leave that alone. The next middle section is your retune section. So if you wanted to apply any kind of tuning, you certainly can, and you do that here. The amount is how strong of the tuning, so if you need it to lock right into a specific pitch, put it to 100%. And then speed is how quickly the note that's coming in gets corrected to the target note. Glide is just an on or off switch, being able to kind of slowly and smoothly go from one pitch to another, or it can be off and just kind of go, okay, here's a note, bing, here's another note, bing, here's another note. And instead of kind of smoothly drifting between those pitches, then you could just snap to them. Then on the right-hand side, next to the tuning section, is the spectrum manipulation. And this is where you can kind of do your tone shaping. So there's a tilt in here, there's a shift, and there's scale. And this, again, it allows you to brighten or darken your source signal to achieve the sound you're going for. Underneath that is this section right here, and this is our modulation section. And it's really cool because it has 2 built-in LFOs. So let's say I wanted to manipulate pitch over time. I can drag the LFO up to pitch, and now you can see it is dancing around this minus 7 area, but it's being manipulated by the LFO. So I can go and click into here, and now I can just start slowing things down. I want this LFO to adjust the pitch, and look here, even the white line is showing us that we're traveling between the range, which is the yellow line here. And if I want to adjust that, there's this little control right here, and I can increase by clicking and dragging, or decrease, and we can now shift to negative and set whatever kind of interval we want here, and the LFO will allow that range within its movements. You can see next to our LFOs, we have curve and we have follow, but if you want to change any of these, you just click on them and you can adjust them however you want. And then, yeah, you can click and drag this onto any control. And actually, let's go multiple controls. The same curve is now affecting both the amount and the speed. And let's just kind of bring this down and we'll make an adjustment there. So the amount of tuning was going to shift around and the speed at which the tuning is applied will shift according to this curve. When you have it selected, it turns yellow, but you can see up here for pitch, the LFO, it's purple. So it's just showing you that it's attached to an LFO or some kind of modulation. If you want really precise controls of your manipulation, I'm going to go to the little control here, which shows me that I'm connected to my LFO, and I'm going to command or control click, if you're on PC, right on this control. And now I have an extra menu here, so I can go ahead and I can adjust in a more kind of fine-tuned sort of way. And if you just want to remove it, you can right-click. That'll be dual finger click if you're on a trackpad, and you could just remove, and it takes it off. To the right of the modulation section is just your wet-dry controls. So if you want your retune on or off, or your blend between your dry signal and your wet signal, that's over here. And then underneath is more of a visual readout of the notes coming in. So it will know, and you can adjust your input gain over here, a gate if there's some noise or some music going on underneath, the notes in which you're drifting between or the ones that are registered. And if you want to turn them off, just click on them. If you want to turn them back on, click on them again. If you want to change your scale, go to the right-hand side. Clicking on the big letter allows you to change what key you're in, and clicking on chromatic allows you to change what kind of scale you're in. And of course, if you want to change your tuning to 432 for some crazy reason, yes, sure, the universe gets it. 440, 432, whatever your tuning is, you can manipulate that here. So maybe for your movie production and your voiceover work, you don't need it specific to a 440 kind of note. It can be tuned to whatever you need it to be. We kind of jumped over it, but right in the top middle is your user interface. And within here, you can do manipulations. And once we start doing some synthesis, you'll see how this actually works. And so it's showing us that we can turn this on or off by clicking on the note here. That's what the spectrum control down here is also showing. That's why we can see this symbol here associates with this symbol here. If you want to do even more manipulation, there's a randomization button. This is awesome. And of course, we can reset everything by clicking on the wrench, throw in some other kinds of filters, invert everything. A bunch of things can happen here. So that's the resynth section. And if we want to go to the effects, and there's a ton in here, we can then just change our tab by clicking here and start adding in different effects: choruses, compressors, delays, distortion, equalization, filters, reverbs, and shifters. All of this is in here. It's things like we've seen. So if I just start clicking in, this is like, we've seen this from Minimal Audio. It's a lot of the controls and a lot of the effects that we've seen in other plugins from them. And they're just taking a lot of these that we've seen in other plugins and throwing it into Evoke for our synthesis. We didn't go over the very top preset browser right in the middle and the left and right arrows so you can navigate through them. To the right, if you create your own preset, hit the floppy disk, that saves it for you. If you want to randomize stuff or shuffle things, there's the button here. We have the cogwheel, gets you into your settings, output meter right here, and you can actually adjust that if you need to. I'm going to option click to put it back to normal. Okay, that's all of the controls, and you probably noticed that there's a lot of controls in here. We sort of went over them pretty quick, but as we get into our audio examples, which is where we're going now, I think you'll start to understand how this works and what it's doing. So let's continue on. So I'm actually going to close and remove this version because I have a different version already on, and I have it here. This is our first example. We're going to go with our music example. Within this song that we've used before, there is a ton of vocal harmonies within this track, and I'm going to solo them for you right now. Here is just our vocals within our chorus.
Clarify why you deny your love for suffering still thrive.
That's where we're going to start. That is the vocal harmonies and leads that were recorded for this song. Now I want to show you just the lead vocals. I've put them into their own bus. I have that right here, and I have Evoke on that bus. But let's just listen to our lead vocals without Evoke doing anything.
Clarify. You deny your love for suffering still thrive.
One thing to note is how at the very end there was a harmony on these two lead vocal tracks. And initially, I thought that was going to be a problem. And it sort of is, but I think you're going to like what happens. Check this out. Let's open up Evoke, and all I did was pull open and surf through presets. This blue fuzz created a really cool sound that I think you guys are going to like. Check this out. So again, here it is without Evoke.
Clarify you tonight. Your love for suffering still thrive.
Okay, now we're going to turn it back on with just this preset.
Clarify you tonight. Your love for suffering still thrive.
Did you hear that? It dropped that harmony an extra octave and created this really cool warble effect. And that's just what I'm going to call it. So Evoke didn't know which pitch to correct, and it started to do both of them, and it created that unanticipated effect. And I instantly loved it. It was so cool. I'm going to show you this before and after. I'm going to put the background vocals back in and bypass Evoke. Here it is, the original arrangement of the vocals.
Clarify why you deny your love for suffering still thrive.
Background's out, Evoke on.
Clarify you deny your love for suffering still thrive.
Let's go even further and throw the backgrounds back in, not change how they're going stereo, mono, or anything like that. Let's throw the backgrounds back in and layer everything up. Check this out.
Clarify why you deny your love for suffering still thrive.
That extra octave underneath of Evoke trying to figure out which pitch adds so much weight. And now we're just listening in solo. So let's do what we would normally do and listen in the context of the mix. I'm going to bypass Evoke one last time. And here it is in its default state with the regular recordings and arrangement as it was.
Clarify, you deny your love for suffering still thrive.
And then let's turn Evoke on and listen for that sub in the context of everything.
Clarify, you deny your love for suffering still thrive.
So much weight gets added in on this vocal, especially because we're in the chorus. It's really thick. It beefs everything up. I love it. All right, I've switched over to my voiceover session. And like I said earlier, I was just feeling kind of fantasy, sci-fi villain monologue. I've really been into that recently. And so I used some AI to generate a fake script for me. So everything you're going to hear is AI generated, voiced by me, has no context to literally anything, but it was really kind of fun. And so we have Evoke on our voiceover channel right here. I'm just going to turn it into bypass. And again, my voice, I was just trying to come up with characters. Here's a little snippet. You will curse my name. You will brand me tyrant, demon, heretic. So be it. So again, went with villain, here's the reveal of his evil plan, or the monologue towards the end when the hero comes in and they start to fight. That's just kind of what I was feeling. Let's go ahead and throw Evoke back on, and we'll just start cycling through some of the presets. And when we go into the preset browser, I'm probably going to kind of go through here and hit transform, just because I want it to sound like, look at this, Robo-Convo. Like, this could be sci-fi where you're in this giant mech. Let's just start going through and hearing some of what Evoke can do on just like a voiceover thing. So right now we're still on our default, and this is like without manipulating anything. This is what it's going to sound like. You will curse my name. You will brand me tyrant, demon, heretic. So already it sounds kind of villainous. It just got that. Mind you, we're also going down. If I shift this to an octave up and we turn that one on and turn this one off, it's going to be completely different. You will curse my name. That's not as evil, but maybe we can combine them and we'll turn both of them on. You will curse my name. You will brand me tyrant, demon, heretic. So be it. So I'm turning on and off different voices that are set at different intervals, and we're really changing how this sounds. But let's just go through different presets. Like we said, we're on transform, and I'm going to go to a couple different lines that I recorded. Let's go over to this one, which without Evoke sounds like this. Your fear feeds me. Your ruin crowns me. So I went for a nice deep voice. Let's throw this on Altered Mecha.
Your fear feeds me. Your ruin crowns me.
So immediately we're getting this synthesis and it doesn't sound like me anymore. It sounds real deep. And you may have heard the noise floor come up, but like, let's turn the gate on and get rid of some of that extra noise. And let's do, without changing anything, we just increase the gate. Maybe it's going to get rid of a little bit of that. There was a little bit of hissy noise. Let's see if it does it.
Your fear feeds me. Your ruin crowns me.
That's really good. I think I need to do just a little bit of gain adjust, and I'm going to do it on the event itself and not necessarily on the input here.
Your fear feeds me. Your ruin crowns me.
So there, we've got this nice evil voice. Let's go over to this one and try a different kind of preset. And again, I'll just kind of gain this up on the event just so that we can really hear what's going on. Different preset, different line. Let's take a listen.
I am the silence after the scream.
Really creepy. Let's hear another one.
I am the silence after the scream.
This one is a little difficult to understand what we're saying, so let's just pull the wet dry back a little bit. Let's give us 25% of the clean vocal to get some of the intelligence.
I am the silence after the scream.
Still a lot of noise, but maybe this isn't the right preset. Let's try Blur Stepper. Again, I'm just cycling through. Again, let's find another preset. Let's just go into here. I saw it before. Let's go large robot. And here's another new line. That sounds like a large robot. It definitely reminds me of Transformers, but I'm going to bring a little bit of me back in to make it intelligible.
Kneel or burn. The choice was never yours.
Let's try a different preset. Let's go with Metal Mecha.
Kneel or burn. The choice was never yours.
Definitely sounds like a big old mech robot. I switched over to Talking Bot for this one. Definitely a lot going on there. And you, of course, you can go really crazy on this. Again, let's just bypass. I'm on a different line. Here's the line. I am not the shadow you fear in the dark. I am the darkness itself. That's where we're going to start. Listen to how crazy and rhythmic this can get, because that's something we didn't even touch on, is because of all the LFOs, and you can change the wave style. Look down here. It's definitely a square wave. You can get rhythmic patterns. Check this out. So this may not be great for voice, but it's definitely good for manipulation of whatever your source signal is if you need to do something like this. So there it is. That is Evoke from Minimal Audio, which is available right now. Use the link down in the description if you want to pick up a copy for yourself, for your music productions or your voiceover productions, whatever that may be. Thanks to Minimal Audio for sending this over so we could have some fun with it. And thanks you for watching. And I'll see you next time. Happy mixing. Take care.